Hi, I'm Rie. Here's some more my favorite Japanese noodles. Yakisoba is kind of like mac and cheese for me. It's easy to make, you can make a lot of it, and my mom used to make yakisoba all the time for my lunch. So the first recipe is classic yakisoba. Tasty Japan is making 4 different versions here. Basic yakisoba is usually noodle, cabbage, carrot, bean sprout, thinly sliced pork toasted with yakisoba sauce, which is sweet, savory, and tangy, all at the same time. It's very similar to okonomiyaki sauce, but slightly thinner. It's kind of like Japanese chow mein. You might only be familiar with the basic style, but there are a bunch of different ways of making it. The second is salt and lemon. I've started seeing a lot of trend where salt-lemon combination is getting very popular in Japan. This is lighter than the sauce one. Also, yakisoba you often would find on the street. It's very much a Japanese street food. You can also find in Japan an instant version, so you can just pour hot water, drain the water, and add sauce. It's kind of like Maruchan ramen, but we have this yakisoba version of that. The options are unlimited. The third one is buta kimchi. Buta is pork and kimchi. Pork and kimchi flavor combination is very popular as well. If you go to an okonomiyaki place, you will see this flavor combination very often. It's a Japanese take on more of Korean style dish. I feel like it's more Japanese people have started using kimchi in our daily food, so I think it's kind of a fusion. You can order your favorite vegetables and protein and make it a little healthier and make it fancy. The fourth one is a little bit fancy with more seafood. It has shrimp and squid. It also has a little quail egg. Quail egg is super easy to find. Every grocery store has it pretty much. You might only be familiar with the basic style, but there are a bunch of different ways to make yakisoba that you should try. It's easy and simple with proteins and vegetables, nutritious and delicious dish. There is another type of ramen called TSUKEMEN. The noodle is a little thicker and it's usually served cold, and you will dip in a hot broth. Unlike ramen, the noodle is not sitting on the soup. You will take it off a plate and dip it in the broth. The noodle is served separated with the soup. You dip the noodle into the soup like soba noodle, but it's a little different in terms of the broth. This style is not as popular as ramen, but I feel like it's getting very popular. Sometimes if you go to a restaurant, the broth is different and they get creative. A lot of ramen restaurants will have tsukemen on their menu, so if you like ramen, you should give it a try. Or try making this recipe at home. It's very easy to make. Broth is very condensed and very thick. I think it's a great summer noodle recipe. You are not slapping hot broth out of a bowl like ramen. Instead, you will have a nice, refreshing cold noodle and dip. This recipe is also developed by Daiki in Tasty Japan. Most of the ramen recipes are developed by him because he loves noodles so much. This is a different type of ramen, but if you love noodles and you love ramen, I'm sure you will love this. Also, there is a trick to make pasta into ramen flavored noodle. So when you are boiling water, add 1 tablespoon of baking soda and add angel hair pasta. And once you cook the noodle, it tastes like ramen noodle. It's a great hack. I want to make a video about it, but I haven't had time yet. So here I'm just telling you it now. If you don't have an Asian market or access to ramen noodle, just boil a pot of water and add baking soda and salt, and it does the trick. The last time I had tsukemen, it was Haneda Airport in Tokyo, and when I went to Madrid, they had hamon on the airport food court. I feel like some airports step up their airport food game. Just saying. Tsukemen is very refreshing and it's very different from ramen. If you never try it, please try this recipe. I'm sure you will love it. Soba noodle is our tradition to eat during New Year's Eve. Toshikoshi soba means year-crossing noodles. Some people say one of the reasons is this: Buddhist temples used to give soba to poor people on New Year's, and it's become a tradition to eat on New Year's Eve. So what I know about this tradition, I saw soba noodle is very easy to prepare, and end of the year it's very busy. So they want to make a meal, something very quickly and easy. I'm not 100% sure what is the origin story. If somebody knows, please let me know. So one of our superstitions is soba is long, so it's like longevity of life. To eat soba noodle, it's kind of good luck thing. If you eat long soba noodles, you will have a longer life. There's a bunch of different superstitions about it too. Soba noodles are made with buckwheat, so it's gluten-free. It has no gluten in it, so it's very difficult to make at home. You need a skill to make soba. If you want to know more about making soba noodles, watch Alvin's video, The Art of Making Soba Noodles. It's very beautiful video. You can also purchase the dried soba noodle in the Asian market or some grocery stores. So one of the topping in the video is called kakiage. Kakiage is type of tempura. It's like veggie medley. Bunch of different vegetables coated with tempura batter and fried. Usually you also include onion and carrots. Soba is usually either served hot or cold, depending on the weather or your mood. Cold soba comes with dipping sauce, sort of like tsukemen noodle. And warm soba comes submerged in soup, more like a ramen or udon. Yakisoba also has soba in their name, but it's completely different ingredients. So yaki means pan-fried for yakisoba. Soba is buckwheat noodle. Last time I had a soba noodle, I went with Worth team in Tokyo. Someone requested soba and it turns out there are a famous soba shop nearby and we went, but we waited for 30 minutes. But it was really good, totally worth it. I also ate soba noodles when we shot in New York. I like eating soba noodles in the summertime, usually cold because it's refreshing and light. For the winter time, I like warm soba noodles. I usually will eat soba noodles for New Year's Eve. It's a great way of connecting my culture and my tradition in my current life in LA. Ramen is very popular fast food in Japan, and I think it's getting more popular in the States as well. Everyone loves ramen, right? I feel like in here the popular broth is usually tonkotsu ramen. And tonkotsu is made with pork, so it's a little heavy to me. So whenever I go back to Japan, I always eat my favorite style, which is shoyu, which is soy sauce based, or salt, which is chicken broth based, because it's a little lighter than tonkotsu. I also love soft-boiled egg in ramen, and it's very easy to make. You just boil water and put the egg in it and wait for 6 to 7 minutes. This ramen recipe is developed by Daiki in Tasty Japan, and I'm so glad that he made this video so I can make at home. And another popular flavor is miso ramen. Miso ramen is miso-based broth. It's very good. Sometimes it comes with miso and butter, and sometimes it's a little spicy. My favorite toppings for ramen is menma, which is bamboo shoot. Kind of has a little crunchy texture to it, so it gives a nice texture into ramen because ramen is usually soft. It's considered like slow fast food because it takes a long time to make it, but it's very fast to serve. You can find a ramen shop easily in LA, but if you want to make it at home, there's ramen noodles you can find in Asian grocery stores. It usually comes with broth too. SOMEN has a very long history. As long as I can remember, I've been eating somen during summertime. It's usually served cold and it's a really great noodle. Somen is something that I feel like a lot of non-Japanese people wouldn't recognize. But this is a staple dish in Japan during the summertime. I can't even remember how many times I ate somen for my lunch. It's very affordable and everyone can make at home. This is something you won't usually see at restaurants. It's something you will see in home cooking. It's super easy and it only takes 2 to 3 minutes to boil. My mom makes a lot during summertime. It's very refreshing. It's a very quick meal to fix, so I think it's a noodle for busy people. Somen is very thin and it's also dried, so it has a good shelf life. Usually it's served with mentyu, so simple somen is just mentyu with scallion. For this Tasty Japan video, they made 4 different varieties of dipping sauce. The most fun memory about somen that I have, again, it's during summer camp in Japan. We make a slide made out of bamboo. So you cut bamboo in half and remove all the segments, so you are making giant long slide. Then you pour water and slide somen along with it, and you're gonna catch the somen with your chopsticks. I'm really good at picking somen noodles. I don't know. So it's a little bit tricky because somen is sliding in front of you, so you have to catch it very quickly, but I was very good at it. Also during the summer camp, we made a dipping cup and bamboo chopsticks. That style of somen is called nagashi somen. It's just like a very fun activity. You can make slide and playing with the noodles. Okay. I think you can also find those kind of restaurants in Japan. It's really cool. I wanted to recreate that experience here with Hitomi from Nifty, who is my work wife. We've been talking about for years, but we haven't executed it. We should really do it and make a video out of it. For this recipe, one of the ingredients is umeboshi, which is like Japanese pickled plum. It's super sour, but it's very addictive for me. When I think about umeboshi, it's like when you look at lemon and you salivate or your mouth feels a little strange. We use it for rice balls and noodles. Especially with cold noodles, I think it gives a nice kick to the noodle dish. Also, grated radish and umeboshi is a golden combination. It's like pork and kimchi and peanut butter and jelly. Umeboshi and grated radish is a great flavor combination that has been used for a very long time. Have you had somen before? If you have, let me know. If you haven't, go try it, make a home, and tell me what you think. This is a recipe for cold udon. It uses eggplant and tomato, so it's more for like summer. I love eggplant and it's so good. So in the summertime in Japan, it's very humid and super hot. So this is the perfect dish for the kind of summer. The broth it uses is mentyu. Mentyu is soy sauce based with dashi, and it's a kind of dipping sauce. You can use it for a lot of dishes like somen and dipping sauce for tempura. Men means noodle and tsuyu is dipping sauce. This concentrated pre-made sauce is used mainly for like various different kind of noodle dishes. You can make it from scratch, but it's very easy to find in a grocery store. And I think you can find it in an Asian grocery store in the US. If you want to make it from scratch, you can make it with dashi and soy sauce and mirin. But if you use mentsuyu, you can make udon on a whim. The last time I made udon for a video, it was beef udon and kitsune udon. But this one is different because it is for summer udon. So this one is different because it's not served hot and uses different ingredients like summer vegetable. Like yakisoba, you can experiment with it. Maybe you can make Italian udon. I've seen carbonara udon before. Udon is like a blank canvas, so experiment with it. And experiment with your favorite flavors and ingredients and make your own udon.